Next thing we want to do here, we want to begin to convert our guys here. We're going to convert a unit into, should convert it into a turtle, to be honest. But I need to start capturing stuff on the other side of the river here. So what we're doing is we're converting so we can capture this, and then we can start bringing guys over across the thing. Here, you can move down. I also need to take buildings. This is why you want to get rid of the thing as quickly as possible. Not that I really minded one way or the other, but it's sort of annoying that, you know, you have, as soon as the pirate army comes in, they immediately seize 4 buildings, including a unit production building, which is fine. Unit production building plus 2 to help, 3 to help with the economy. That's fine. It's just, could you imagine if you had taken any one of these buildings and have it immediately turn over to the other side? You know, it's like, why did I waste my time trying to capture that when it was just inevitably going to be the other team's thing? So you can move to here. Rid of that. You can finish attacking here. You're going to move over here, capture this. You're going to move to here and capture this. Alright, we're looking pretty good right now. These two need to go the way of the dodo. What we're going to do here is we want to create a trebuchet. I don't have enough for a trebuchet anymore. Unfortunate. So what do we got? Got you, the need to die, you. Alright, let's make... That was not what I wanted. Oh well. Lots of spearmen, always good to have. So, nope. I want you to reinforce. And we'll keep moving along. Want to get rid of the pirates, obviously. Gotta find some counters to the turtles. Alright, you can wait there, that's good. You guys are all gonna get to fight, that's fine, I don't care. Allah sheep, you were far too lenient with you before. Suppose this is the price of compassion. Compassion? Why, you daffy? I bet he was gonna say a swear. It wouldn't have been a nice swear either. It'd been like one of them, like, kind of swears that it's like, oh, you can't say that on the internet. You'll get canceled. You're good against these river boats, so convert you. This here, good. So the game, this level's essentially, do you want to convert your units into C units? How many of them do you want to convert into C units? And do you want to then convert them back to put on the other side of the little water area, so that you can, you go from, say, a soldier to a boat, back to a soldier. Or do you want to use the teleporter, which means you got to have guys over there to take the other teleporter? Or do you want to use, well, you can't see it from this island, but on the next island down, there is a airport sky place to make air units, so you can. But here's the fun fact: certain units, including trebuchets, onis, and horse units, cannot travel via air. You can only travel via boat, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Maybe they can't even travel via boat because the barge might not be big enough to move them. So ultimately, it should be. There shouldn't be a situation where you can only create land units that you can't transport. But I get the idea of not being able to take an Oni or Golem type unit and just picking it up in a blimp and just dropping it in the middle of an area, just completely devastate the enemy team. Because this is not Advance Wars where you can just pick up, well, Advance Wars didn't really have an air version of that either, but you know what I mean, like you could always move 2 units, whether those were 2 ground units or 2 tank units or 2 like super tank units, you know. So, and I know I mentioned this in a previous episode of this, but I kind of always kind of like the way that StarCraft, at least the first StarCraft game, did air units. Obviously don't have sea units in StarCraft, but basically the bigger the unit, the less of them you can put inside of a dropship. So, you know, small tiny units like Zerglings, you can put was it 2, 4, 6, 8 of them per unit, but the largest unit you can make as a Zerg is called an Ultralisk. You can only take 2 of those. So one of the things that make this section easy is a trebuchet, which is what we're going to plan on making eventually. Problem with trebuchets, you have to use either the teleporter or some sort of E unit to transport it across the ocean. So, kind of sucky, I know. Yeah. 65, 75, 24, 54. Because she's standing on water, which is negative for her. And here, what are you? 24. Yeah, let's do that, I guess. Let's try to take advantage of some of this. Pirates understand this. I prefer them to traders. Take at least a little bit of advantage of the fact that you're standing in bad terrain. And we got... Do I want to build anything else? No, I don't. Intern. You little bastard. I think you're clever.
You've got me all fired up.
Verse 10, Liberation Party finds you guilty of the following crimes. 1 count of regicide, 2,905 counts of environmental assassination, 500,000 counts of labor exploitation. That are nonsense. Do you hear what they think of us, Roita? Yeah, but you saw it. That's the difference. One thing to say, the Emperor loves all of his people, and it's another thing to see the slave colonies that the Emperor or Empress created. Why would the Empire be terrible if they're good to me? Oh wait, they're not good to all people because not everyone is citizen created equal in this nation. Whoopsie! That you can't trace your lineage back 7 generations? I guess you're a second-class citizen then. Over! Get safety, leave Empress to me! Yeah, good luck with that. This is where it starts getting muddy. I don't really care about the boats here too much. So that boat's gonna basically be used as a distraction so that the turtles don't gang up on my one turtle. I've always been a big fan of the, you know, 2 armies go up against each other. We're talking war games here. We're not talking about real life. So you have two armies go up against each other. They're the same unit. Infantry, tank, etc. And you give the advantage to the attacker, okay? So if we both have 10 units and they both attack each other, I'll do, say, because I'm just a little short, make a harpoon ship, which is good against balloons and turtles. Barge? Yappa? Nope. Yeah. To wait for a second. I've always been a fan of you have the same unit go up against each other, and I'm more lean to the side where, you know, 2 even units. The attacking unit gets obviously the advantage to attack first, so it deals, say, I don't know, let's say 5 damage. 4 or 5 damage, okay? So then they have 6 character health left, and they attack back with that 6 character health, and so 6 versus 10 equals, let's say, I don't know. We said 40 damage. So what would be 60% of 40? So that would do about 2.5 characters worth of damage, or something like that, you know what I mean? Your Highness, looks like reinforcements have arrived. Weird, we didn't send for any. Guess who? Vesper. I wasn't expecting you. Been so long since your last report, I began to pursue other avenues. Steal the Felgauntlet, they said. How hard could it be, they said. Oh, as none of these books mention the Felgauntlet. Stop by Cherrystone in the Glimwoods. Evensong? Tell me, have you accomplished what we discussed? Just say you no longer need to worry about the Felgauntlet. Mercia. It seems I no longer require Cherrystone's support after all. Ah, pardon. I wasn't finished. You no longer have to worry about the Felgauntlet, because now there's 2. What? Then I have to reach it with all 3 of these people. Hooray for me's, right? Fighting. My goodness, isn't this exciting? Oh look, Valder. Beams were a bit late, sorry. Don't worry, Empress. We'll happily apprehend Vesper. No need, but your cooperation is appreciated in another matter. Valder, the Emperor is planning to invade Felham if we don't relinquish the gauntlet. What? Yeah, that's not gonna work. This is gonna be fun, though. Because... Here, why is this fun? I'm trying to remember. Why is this fun again? Oh, I remember now. We're gonna turn that into a whatever they call that boat with the cannon ship. That's what's gonna happen. So that'll be fun, right? So yeah, we're gonna start taking this center island now that the top island is more or less taken care of. Obviously it's not 100% there yet, but we're gonna crush the other commander up here, take out the ballista here, and then the rest of this is just gonna fall kind of, well, we'll say like dominoes, because there'll be nothing left for the units to make. My goodness, could you believe that? That's terrible. It won't be my last after your head. That'll be fun, right? Yeah, I kind of want to get in there and do as much damage as possible. A little damage to you, more damage to you. If I can, I'm going to try to punch, what's it called? Oh, no, that's a great idea. We'll pick this up, move it over, and then just destroy it. And then that'll give the Oni and the other swordsman free reign to attack the archer there. It won't completely, you know, solve my problems, because the riverboat can attack land units as well, but you know, you get what I'm saying. this will be enough to get rid of you. So now we're down to 4 boat units. There's another turtle down there I'm not looking at right now. But yeah, I mean, we can start just chipping away at the buildings here so they can't produce any more units. And yeah, that'll turn from black to yellow, and I'll use that to further increase my gold per turn. And then we're going to roll eventually into Dragon Oni play, where I'm just going to start producing dragons and Onis on every turn. So that'll be fun, right? The one thing that's kind of disappointing about this level, when you play, I'm thinking Advance Wars 1, when you go to fight Sturge, he has a massive army, and you're basically starting from scratch, okay? But the fact that he has all of these initial resources and cities and humongous army, and you're invading on their turf. Now the fact that, say, I get the fact that we're on enemy turf here, but you know, give me, this is complicated because I'm going back and forth between lore reasons why you would have a ton of units, of course, on your yeah. So, for lore reasons, I can understand why you would have a ton of units at your disposal on your own land, in your own country, and why your opponents would not. But, like, the fact that this level's just way too easy. And I understand the point of this is to try to get 3 stars, and getting the 3 stars is kind of difficult because one of them insists that you beat the level in, I think it's under 15 turns. The other one is you have to defeat all of the commanders, which is not hard to do. But like, it doesn't feel like there's any major resistance once you get rolling on this level. So once you take this initial island, you've got a fairly decent amount of economy pumping into your coffers every turn. But meanwhile, as Valder comes in, as Cherry Stone is taking the 3rd farthest island from, the farthest island from my starting position, it feels like they should have been either granted more initial resources, because this last push between, I mean, the major battle is just right at the beginning when you're being invaded by both the pirate faction, and now you've got Valder coming in and taking, obviously buildings, and he's starting to get sort of dangerous, because if he takes that airport, you're kind of fucked. But it kind of also feels like, with the amount of time Cherry Stone should have in that bottom island, not only should they be able to take pretty much everything on that lower island, but they should also have like an airport or something to start sending big time troops at me. So not only are you battling for the center islands, like truly battling for the center islands, but you're actually having to force you either have to take the other portal, or you have to muster your forces in such a way that you're pushing for an invasion. You gather up your troops, you get a bunch of boats to push your units across the little sea here, and then you invade the island, But they never get fully up to speed on the bottom island. So ultimately, as you can see, as they're still trying to take all kinds of stuff, they're like, Henry, explain yourself now. Nothing to explain. Thumb's guilt of the crimes against Seven Song's people. I merely seek justice. Justice? This is revenge, plain and simple. But revenge for whom? We both lost our families in the Fell King's wake. The motivation here is just beyond imagine, other than we're starting to get into that point, the line of thinking where at the end of the last game, you know, you defeated the great evil, Sturge dies, the vampirist dies, there's peace in the land. And so you introduce two more factions, one of which is the mouse faction, who seems to be sort of a neutral faction. The pirates are obviously interested in retaking their lands, so there's some sort of what you player character would probably consider a positive faction, you know, to a degree. And then you just have the Empire just choosing, like, what is the worst diplomatic choice I can make, and let's make that. Like, give me a reason why suddenly Heaven Song feels they are a threat. Why do they, you know, the Gloom Lords didn't invade. Cherrystone has offered no such threat that they're on the march. You certainly didn't catch them spying on you, at least, to justify some sort of, you know, anger, you know? And, you know, long story short, I mean, you end up being, when this is all said and done, you end up being the aggressor in all this, win, lose, or draw. So you end up in a situation where it's like, aha, I decided I wanted to wage war against the whole world. What are your allies? Oh, I don't have any allies. It's just me. I'm going to take over the world now. And it's like, that's fine, but what's your end goal? If your end goal is to take over all of the whole of the Crescent Island that everybody lives on, best of luck, because you're having trouble taking care of the pirates that live off island, let alone the ones that actually physically live there. Anywho. So, gonna keep pushing down. We're gonna heal that up, and then we're gonna convert that into an Oni next turn. Because I've got Ragna, I've got Valder, and then whatever he's gonna start producing out of his little blue buildings. I'm guessing there's a golem on its way to me. I need to. And they of course took the portal, which means that Cherrystone now has the ability to teleport units in to the island to help. How long did you conspire against me? You left me in the creepy nightmare zone. Big sister, I trusted you. We're not sisters, Ragna. You shouldn't have gotten attached.
I'm unstoppable! Ha!
Yeah, that's why I healed them last turn, so that we'd have a full powered Oni, rather than producing an Oni that was like, say, at 6 or so health. Then of course, yeah, we're gonna use these to start. That was unfortunate. I was gonna say we're gonna use this to light. We're gonna get rid of any sort of building that I think threatens us, which is mainly going to be the airport, if they take the airport, which they have not yet. It's a neutral airport again. But also to bombard the commander characters, so we can try to get rid of them as quickly as possible. Of the units that I'm most concerned about, they sort of rank like this. 1, your commander. 2, any sort of dragon that is produced at an airport. 3 is going to be an Oni. and 4 would be any sort of cannon ship. And then after that, I think we can handle most anything else that comes our way. Because I don't expect like a mass Tengu use on this. It'll be whatever. Will be whatever, you know, they have the ability to produce between now and then. I guess since this, I know when this episode's coming out because of the fact that I didn't upload my original recording of this playthrough. These levels, I guess. I'm gonna, you know, this will be coming out shortly after the 4th of July. And I don't know why we have to ruin like, and we as an internet thing, like, I started getting TikToks on the 4th of July that were like the 4th of July versus the 5th of July, and it says the 4th of July and it shows fireworks and people eating barbecue and such, and then it says the 5th of July, and then it goes straight to Halloween, and I am like, that is all of July, all of August, all of September, and all of July, August, September, and most of October. You know, you're looking at, and it's like 4 months away. Almost. Completely 4 full months away. Okay? And it's like, what is 4 months? 4 months is equivalent to 1/3 of the year. So she meant, Valder, exclamation point, I'll smash your, as in the enemy's faces, into paste, not I'm gonna smash Valder's face into paste. But, like, look, I understand people like their holidays, and people, we don't generally think too well, at least in terms of internet, we like to think about the holidays, like, you know, Christmas and Halloween and Thanksgiving. You know, those are all New Year's. Those are all at the end of the year, beginning of the next year. And that's all exciting because it's like a combination of your you know, some people like Halloween, some people don't care about it. But, you know, even if you don't like Halloween, you were getting close to Christmas, people get excited about that. I get that, you know. Don't wish your life away. This is sort of what I'm saying, you know. If you're a crazy person, you want to decorate for Halloween all year, fine. You want to have a spooky house all year, that's fine. I prefer to, like, really enjoy the season I'm in, to the point that, like, for a while there, I was following college football pretty hard, to the point that it felt like I was kind of like waiting for September to come around, just so that football would start again. College football, that is. I don't really care about the NFL, except during the playoffs. Wanted college football back so bad. But it's January, and the you know, national title game just ended, you know? And the next big thing that's going to happen is going to be spring games in like 4 months. I'm not gonna fucking wish my life away because the 2 or 3 months I really love the most are September, October, and November. You know, during college football season, at least until your team's hopes get dashed because you find out all that hype that you had for your team going into September, it turns out they're not as good as you thought they were, because the hype mobile said that they were going to win 10 games and they ended up losing the first 2, so the likelihood of them winning the next 10 in a row is very small. But I don't know, maybe you played the number 1 and 2 teams in the country back to back, so unlikely for most college football programs if you know anything about it. But this isn't going to be a story about that. I'm going to stop talking about it. But nevertheless, You have all of July and all of August. That's 2 more months, 2 full more months of summer. If you're a kid, anyways, you know, you got about 2 full more months of summer before you go back to school. You know, if you've got vacation planned, you still have all of July and all of August before you have to worry about kids going back to school, if you have kids, that is. Or maybe, I mean, if you don't have kids, you can even do vacation and get some decent weather in September as well. I'm thinking mainly about going to the shore here. I'm not talking necessarily about you can travel whenever you want. I mean, obviously, if you go into the mountains for skiing in the middle of summer, you're kind of fucked. But you want to obviously limit that to sort of a winter time thing. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just. I understand that we like to think ahead and we like to, you know, look towards, you know, like your favorite time of the year. Like my favorite time of the year is, again, fall. I love fall. I love college football. I love the change of the seasons. I love the leaves. I love everything about fall. My birthday's in the fall. You know, all of that's great. I don't really care for winter, so it's nice to sleep. I don't like the electric heating bills in the winter time, but or the snow. I hate snow. You know, spring's nice, but it could be cold, it could be hot. You really don't know what spring's going to be like, and of course summer. Sort of like winter, you have to tough through the 1 or 2 weeks you're going to get of 90-degree, 100-degree temperatures, and then after that, you know, you're into fall and everything's good and happy-go-lucky, you know. So. We'll figure it out after that, I suppose. It'd be frustrating, man. So we're moving, as you can see, we've got more or less dominance of the center island now. Obviously, you can see he did create a cannon. A boat cannon, but he looked at the enemies, the units I have, and then he goes, nah, boat doesn't. Oh shit, I just got killed by a dragon. You know, it's like, what the fuck were you thinking putting it anywhere near my dragon? You know, I get the fact that the dragon eventually is going to get to the gunboat or the cannon boat regardless, because you know, it can't damage the air unit, and at the same time, it's like the dragon flies so far, it's like it's very broken. You know, I get that. You know, but you gotta. Some of the tactical decisions in this game are just bonkers, like not smart. And you know, the fact that I'm again, overwhelming economy going on now. Give me something to make, like, give me some pause. Either make it more difficult for me to make dragons on this level, or something. Because this is just like, like at this point we're already past the tipping point where I'm gonna steamroll the rest of this level. Whatever, right?